Hi, welcome to the Calculus 2 course, summer course. In this, I'm going to give you a little video. I'm not going to go too many details, but just to tell you about the course and how it works. We will follow so-called an asynchronous model. So it's not synchronous, which means that we'll never have live sessions, no Zoom meetings or collaborate or anything like that. And in fact, this is probably the only time you're going to see me, and I'll probably never going to see you. It's unfortunate the way things are, but okay. Because from now on, all the lectures will actually be what's called widecasting. That are videos made by me writing down on whiteboard, and then you hear me explain how to solve problems. Okay. So let's perhaps start immediately looking at material here. So the first thing perhaps that you might ask is, well, how do you pronounce your name? Okay, that's a good question. So let's look at that first. So this is my name, right? My last name. Might not immediately recognize where it comes from. So my first name sounds German, right? But actually I'm from Belgium, which is not far from there, and my main language is Dutch, or rather Flemish. Now this is, you say, okay, so it's a Flemish name. How do I not pronounce that? Well, Flemish is actually not so far, at least with English, and especially with Middle English. So you have to pronounce it as an English word. Now try, but then think of these words here, because there are these words here, words that you might kind of forget that these are English words, right? School is out. So, scoutens. Like you would pronounce the word scout. And because that's exactly what this means. And ens means sum of. So it's the same root. As I said, English and Dutch are not that far apart. So pronounce it that way, and don't call me shootums. Okay, that sounds very, very ominous. Now, we probably never get to talk to me, or perhaps later on we will meet, but so it's always good to know somebody's name and how to pronounce it. But let's go to the real stuff. Okay, so you looked at the Blackboard site, you came to the Blackboard site. If you haven't done that, you have to do that, because that's officially when you register. Your first login is booked and marked as your official registration for the course also. So, but you're gonna have to go to Blackboard anyway, but not that much. Everything is basically on this. This is a mirror site, but on this website. So please bookmark it so that you can go to it every day, because this is where all the material will be posted. In particular, also this movie, as you saw, is posted here. Since you're watching this movie, it means that you followed the instruction to do this first, I hope. So, okay, what is here? I'm going to run quickly over the various topics here that I want to discuss. First of all, as I said, asynchronous means that we will not follow strict times. But that doesn't mean that we are completely forgetting our daily schedule. So we work with units of a day, basically. And the time that we meet officially between 6 and 8:30 or whatever it is doesn't matter here. You have the whole day to do whatever is assigned for that day. Now that's the flexibility, you can do it on a different pace. But I would strongly suggest to follow as much as possible the pace that I designed. This is the most comfortable pace to learn, give you time to work on it. If you say, oh, I'm going to wait until the weekend because I'm too busy during the week, that's too much. You remember, this is a summer course, and there are 4 sessions every week. And they are actually longer than regular sessions, so it's more than 2 weeks in a regular semester. Would you say, oh, let's say 2 weeks and a half, I'm going to do this on one day? No, that's not going to work, right? So you have to do this day by day. Follow the schedule that I set up. And there are things that will force you to do that somehow. So we'll go over that. So the first thing you kind of need to do after all this is this honor code, but I'm not going to discuss it yet. It's easier if I first discuss the other things. So, all right, so how does a typical... No, let me go over the grading policy first. No, okay, let me first go over this thing, the lectures. So there will be lectures, as I said, and you're assumed... So, sorry, I have no pointer, so it's always where the top line that I'm kind of reading. So you assume to watch all the lecture video on the regular scheduled days. Okay, and this is always on this website. Now read everything else, but let's go to the very important red thing here. To let me know that you have seen the video, you have to add a comment containing your name. And that's why you need a YouTube account. If you don't have that, look at the preparation. It's a bit down here, all the way in the bottom, you see. There's a link there where I explain you how to do this. So you have to then leave a comment with your name. It's timestamped, so I know when you watch this movie, and that way I can keep track. And in fact, it's my way of taking attendance. Okay. All right. You can leave in the comments. You can make more comments. You can ask questions in the comments, but often math is very difficult to do in comments sections. So it's better to then email me. If you email me, so always include 1575 in the subject matter. Therefore, if you push on this link, it automatically fills in my email address, and it also puts in the subject, you see 1575. The reason that I ask you to do this is that way it goes straight to my calculus mailbox, and that's the thing that I look at first. If you don't do that, it might go into spam, and then, yeah, might even never see it. So make that into a habit. But normally you don't need to email me that much. Then the homeworks. So you are expected to do all the homeworks by the beginning of the next class, as usual, right? So the one day you get the topic, then you get the homeworks for that topic, and then the next day we go over this homeworks and you try to solve them the night before, okay? But then read what comes next. The next sentence: I will neither collect nor grade homework, but I will always assign 2 special problems which I will solve the next day. So the next day there will be a solution video with those 2 special problems. Now, if I don't grade nor collect, how do you get points? So the way you earn points is by actually every time after you did your homework and after you watch this homework solution video, to self-assess your progress by giving yourself a star rating. And let me explain how this works. And this is where we need the Blackboard website, and that's the only place we're going to use it for. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Blackboard webpage, Blackboard page of this course. You log in as you logged in always. And you see on the left there announcements, course information. There's a bit more information you should read also. It has to be officially on this Blackboard site as well. But what I'm talking about is this next topic, homework self-assessment. Let's click on that. And then you see here various homeworks, 3.3, 3.4, 3.7. These are the sections in the textbook. And so these are the homeworks numbered that way. And there's one for each homework assignment. So what does that mean? Well, so on homework, let's perhaps look how there's a typical homework listed. So let's look for instance, session 2, assignments, homework assignment from 1.5 do numbers blah 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 blah. Where does these numbers come from? Well, these are the numbers in the textbook. I'll say something about the textbook. And then in 1.6 do also these numbers. It happens to be 2 sections, but normally we have only 1. And then, look, the next thing, the 2 special problems that I talked about are 1.5, number this, and 1.6x. And sometimes I give extra problems, but these are the 2 special problems. These are the ones that will then be shown in session 3. You look at solutions. So now in session 3, look solutions. So I'll scroll up all the way back. Solution video for homeworks from 1.5 and 1.6. That's exactly these 2 special problems, and sometimes do some extra problems there that I think are necessary to go over. Okay, so that's, and now after you watch this video, then you go here and you're gonna self-assess yourself. Okay, so we did 1.5, 1.6. Okay, we'll do that. Now, don't worry about this. You can do this. If you forget to do this, you can do it later. There are no due dates here really, although there are timestamps. So if you do it really late, I see that you're actually being late. Okay, but 1 day or so, that's fine. Also, you can make a mistake. That you can do this multiple times. So you saw I did it already once, so start new submission. It's always the last one that counts, so make sure that you always get the last one the way that you want it. Now, let's read the instructions. Give yourself stars to see how you're doing with the homeworks. 1 star for each of the following. So you're self-assessing yourself. You're grading yourself. And therefore, I'm not, let me tell you already, I am not interested in your grade, and nobody else can see your grade. So it's only for your sole benefit. Now, when can you get a star? I try to solve as many assigned homeworks as possible. I watch the homework solution video, that gives you another star. If you did the first special question correctly, another star, and if you did the second special correctly, another star. So you can have 4 stars or you can have 1 star. Of course, you can have 0 stars if you didn't do any of that. Okay, so how do you solve this? Be careful that you do this answer now. It's only one question. So my grade is, let's see, I tried all the homeworks. I couldn't do all of them, but I tried them. I had to ask some help, but that's okay. You can ask help. We'll talk about what is allowed and what's not allowed. So that was fine. What else? I watched the video, right? So I watched the video, so that's another star. And then the first question I didn't get at all. So I'm not going to give myself a star. For the second question, I did almost all the way in the end, and then I made a silly mistake. I think I got that actually. I'm going to give myself a star. That's fine. That's just, it's self-assessment. Okay, so, but don't be too generous either, right? Perhaps better to be stricter, then you'll feel better afterwards. Then otherwise you say, oh, I thought I was doing better, and then on the quiz you don't. Okay, so 3 stars we said, right? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then say save and submit. It gives ask for confirmation. Don't forget to push on confirmation here. And then this is the submission log. It tells me when you did this. That's what I'm saying. So that's how I know whether you're doing this on time or not. Okay, but then okay, this is important because here you see now the answer. You selected answer was star, star, star. And then underneath, and that's the important part, it says smiley faces, continue to make the most of your homework. It means you answered this one, you did this self-assessment. And look at on the right-hand side here, you got a half out of a half. Every self-assessment is worth a half a point. Okay, so that's how you accumulate points. And this system does this automatically. So that's why I want you to look at this and make sure that you actually get the points you deserve. Because let me make a mistake. I'll do it in a different one here. And so I'm going to start this one. I had done this also another time for myself. So, okay. I'm again giving myself 3 stars, so I'm going to put a 3 there. Okay. Save and submit. Save and submit. Okay, okay. Timestamp. So, but then don't forget to push here. Okay, to the next screen. Look at the bottom. I didn't apply with the right way. I should have put a star, 2 star, 3 star, or 4 stars, and I put a 3. Now, this is important because look at the grade. You got 0 out of 0.5 points. I cannot fix this for you. You have to do this. So you have to make sure that you did it correctly. And as I said, it's okay. You can go back and look at it, right? You can, you can do this as many times as you want, but just be aware that the timestamp changes therefore. Okay. All right. That's the only thing I wanted to say about these homeworks. But so that's a very important thing because that's the homework is how you learn, how you figure out yourself that you understand things and how you learn to work these things. So they're very important to accumulate these tools to understand this material and to assess yourself. Okay. But I give you a little bit leeway. Although I'm saying you should work day by day, ideally, you have time until the weekend for every week, in case you run into problems or something like that. So anything after the weekend of that week will be considered late. Okay, and that will result, I will penalize you a little bit for that. Now, let's look at the grading policy before we move on. Doing this, putting comments in the video, I'm looking at the first homeworks and videos, and self-assessing yourself and therefore getting these automatic points, that will count 10% of the grade. Now the final, that's the third one, is 20% of the grade, and that will be August 6th. Right? It's on the course syllabus. You will see it on the bottom there. It must be taken to pass the course. Even if you have already enough points, you have to take this final, and it's that one day, again, the whole day you have time to solve the final. Now the quizzes, the middle part, it's the most important, 70. The 70% of your grade is quizzes, so they are extremely important. So let's go to quizzes. There will be 13 quizzes altogether, that's quite a lot. And each quiz is typically one question, but sometimes if they're short, it could be more. The good news is I dropped the lowest score, so you can falter once, you can do something, or you can even have to miss one. These are time-stamped in the sense that you can only submit a solution of a quiz at the day of the quiz. Okay, so let's look here. How does it work? So you have in session 2, you see in reviews a review for quiz A. That will be the quiz for the next day, and you see the next day in session 3 assignments quiz A. That's you do that first. You do the quiz. It's not available yet, of course. It will be available somewhere around noon, and you have until the evening, until midnight, to do this local time, New York local time. And then what you do is you have to handwrite your solution, all the steps. I'll say more about that, and then you take a picture of that and put it in your Dropbox folder. As simple as that. And if it's 2 pages, then you take 2 pictures. I don't care. That's why we have a Dropbox folder. We have a lot of space there. Now, once you have put it there, I will look at it and grade it, and then once I grade it, I put it out in a backup folder that you cannot access, so that the folder keeps empty. We don't want any clutter in that folder. Okay, and that tells you that I graded it, that I saw it, and I graded it, and then at Blackboard you can probably see your grades. So that's the quiz. Now, as I said, how do you prepare for such a quiz? Well, there's a review, right? So the quiz in session 3, there will be a review in session 2. And what material is very often the material from even a day before. So in this case, from session 1. So the lecture videos are in session 1, the review for the quiz in session 2, and then the actual quiz in session 3. So that's with this kind of 2 days delay, if you want. Now there's the review, but there's also a solution video of the homeworks, which is again on the same topic, so this both can be considered as reviews, right? Now I would strongly suggest you do this already before the day of the quiz. You do the reviews and the solution videos and the day before, so that on the day you don't have to start on, okay, there's the quiz, and you don't understand the quiz, so you go to the review. But then you don't understand the review, so you have to go to the homework, and you don't understand the homework, so you have to go to the video. You could lose a lot of time there. So prepare yourself in advance. Now, once the quiz is there, you have all the time. You have until midnight to solve the quiz, so you can take your time to really look at it, study the review video one more time, try to solve it, see whether everything is correct. Okay, but there are some rules, and I'll talk about those rules right away. Okay, and then even afterwards, the day later, and after, that's why you cannot no longer submit, look in the section solutions here in session 4, solution video for quiz A. I give you the solution, so you can then check whether you actually did it correctly or not. Okay, so all is there for you to learn, and somehow people kind of skip this, say, okay, I did the quiz, now I don't want to hear it about it. No, this is where you learn. This is when you look at your quiz, you have it there, right? You took a picture, it's on your phone, look at it and say, okay, yeah, that's what I did wrong. Okay, this is how you learn. Okay, so that's how, when you see the session 4 already has a review for the quiz on the next week. There's always, so you see there are always assignments, there are lectures, there are solutions, and there are review videos. Sometimes not all of them, but most of the time that you get all these things per day by day. Okay, so now about the quizzes. Coming back to the quizzes. As I said, they count for 7% is quite a lot. Now, what am I allowed to do on a quiz, right? That is something new. There's no proctoring, there's no direct oversight of me, so you might say, oh, I'm going to cheat on this course because it's going to be so easy. It's actually not so easy. And I definitely don't want you to do that. And why don't we want cheating? Okay, you say, oh, I can cheat. It's okay. I'm not so. That's okay. But think of this: if you cheat, then other people might cheat. And suppose you go to the doctor, and the doctor actually has cheated, and he has his degree, but he has actually gotten someone to do all the tests for him, and he paid him a lot of money because he was a rich kid, and so he got his degree. He paid basically his degree, and now you're there, and he has to diagnose you, and God knows what he's telling you about. You don't want to go to a doctor like that, right? And with everybody, if you deal with somebody and he claims to have these qualifications and these degrees, it says on your transcript you have done this and so and so, you expect this person to actually have been doing that and be able to do that. Okay, so it's a matter of trust. Our society is based on a lot of trust that every person is and does as he claims that he has actually, and in fact, when people start not doing that, is when you get in this mess that we are sitting in now. But that's I don't want to talk politics. Okay, so so how do we? So what are the rules? Let's first at the rules. The rules for quizzes are, and actually they are a bit. It's actually better for you because you are allowed to use notes and videos and textbook, and your graphing calculator. So this is so-called open book. This is different than in a regular class meeting, because you can actually either go back to a video, look at it again, and solve the quiz. That's what I was explaining before. That is allowed. What is now important is you have to show the steps. The answer alone, so this is now the second point that I'm talking about, the answer alone is not going to give you many points. The steps is where most of the credit comes from. And it's also the way that I told you, you think it's easy to cheat, but I can very easily see that somebody's cheating if you skip 5 steps and come to a solution that you were nowhere getting to. That means you got that solution somewhere else. And that is not allowed. So you're not allowed to use any online tools to get your solution, like Wolfram Alpha. You say, because it would give you just a result. You say, but Wolfram Alpha, if I pay a $10 or something like that, it's very cheap, I get all the steps. Well, not really. Yes, it gives you all the steps, but it does it in an automatic way, and it's very artificial. It recognizes right away. And my colleagues and so, we have developed many ways, we have discussed this, we have seen this, we know where to look for. The solutions provided by Wolfram Alpha and so are immediately recognizable as being plagiarism, as being dishonest. Okay, so don't do this. So you're not allowed to use this, so don't do it. And there's another reason why you cannot do this. I'll come back to it right away. And online help. You cannot use only online help from other sites. Okay, you cannot use somebody else's videos or something. That you have to use the videos that I have provided you. You're also not allowed to ask anybody's help. Yeah, that's for sure. So it has to be entirely yours. And I repeat, it's very easy for us to figure out that this is the case or not. And that's why you can only get really points for the steps, showing all the steps. That tells me, okay, he understood this thing, and then I'm going to give you credit. And if you make mistakes, it's the steps that count, so not so much the outcome. So you get a lot of partial credit. Okay, and so this brings me down to the thing that I skipped, but it's actually the thing that I want you to do first. After you watch this video and I read this the introduction, is to sign an honor code. So not only should you not cheat, it's not allowed to. You're gonna promise not to cheat, which brings it a step further. We're gonna make a contract, and violating a contract is even worse. You have to be a man of honor. This is what you want of other people, so you should do that yourself. Okay, so what is it that I want you to do? I want you, here is the pledge here, the boldface, I, and you put your name, pledge to uphold all rules of our honor code, and we'll look at the honor code in a sec, and then you sign and date. So here's, for instance, my example. Okay, this you saw I did this in the previous semester. Okay, so what are now our rules of honor code? Well, we talked about the rules for quizzes. What is the rules of conduct here, our honor code? So that's a separate document. By signing the pledge that I just discussed, listed on the webpage, you agree to uphold all of the following rules. That you watch the entire lecture video of each class before you sign off, that you say, I watched it. So when you put a comment there, you say, I watched it, you should have watched it. Be honest. 2, when you assess yourself and give yourself 2 or 3 stars, you're doing this honestly. In other words, for one thing, you do this only when you actually did do the homeworks or try it, or when you watch the homework video. Okay, be honest. 3rd, and this is the most important one, I pledge, that's number 3, I pledge that any quiz or test will be solved entirely by myself, making use only of the textbook, lecture and homework videos, personal notes and a graphing calculator, and without resorting to help from anybody else. Okay, so again, there are footnotes here. Please read these footnotes. There are important information also about this, but I'll leave that up to you. Then the 4th rule is, as I said, it's actually not so hard to find out that you violate these rules, and if you do so, I might investigate even more, and I might report you, and this might result in a failing grade or even dismissal, or this is considered by the university a serious offense. And then 5, of course, it's a kind of obvious thing when you say that this is me, it should be you, right? The person that is registered for this course has to do this, and nobody else has to do this. Okay, so read this document carefully. As I said, there's this footnotes, I'm not going to go over it. Once you read this thing, you then make sure that you handwrite this. Everything has to be handwritten, because that also tells me that it's you. And sign this, and then take a picture and put it in the Dropbox folder. There's also a way for us to test that the Dropbox folder works. And do this as soon as possible. I would want you to do this by Monday if possible. If you have problems setting up the Dropbox and so, okay, we'll figure it out, try to sort it out. But it has to be done before I give you any grade. So if you don't do this and you give me a quiz, I will not look at the quiz. I will only look at quizzes after you start this honor code. This is, for me, my assurance that you're taking this serious. You pledge, you are a man of your or woman of your word. Okay, that's about the structure of the course, the grading policy we talked. We talked the textbook very quickly. The textbook is the same textbook as in Calc 1, if you took it in CityTech. We're going to use volume 2, which is for Calc 2. But as you'll see, the very first lecture uses some material from volume 1, which is Calc 1. Okay, they're free to download or online uses, so there's no excuse to not use them. Okay, the preparation, you should all have been prepared. You have a YouTube account, you should have a Dropbox account. If not, follow the link. Look at the information. Then office hours. So yeah, again, we won't have any live office hours, and so I have official office hours from 5 to 6 every day of class, Monday to Thursday, which means what? So how do we communicate? As I said, through email. Remember to put 1575 in the subject. You send me email with questions, perhaps with a picture or something like that, and then I'll reply to it as soon as possible. But not in the morning. I'm not a morning person. I'm sorry, you see, it's already 1:30 and I'm kind of just getting... No, that's a little bit exaggerated. But okay, so... but during this particular hour from 5 to 6, I will be even more quickly responding to emails. Okay, as much as I can, of course. If I get overwhelmed with questions, then of course I cannot answer everybody at once. Right, so that's via email, and then tutoring. I don't have any tutoring information yet, so if I have it, I will put it down. And then you have the schedule. I will not put the whole schedule up. I'll pace it so that you don't. I don't want you to go too much ahead either. I want to. Let's all take the same pace, because the pace, the quizzes are fixed to a particular day, right? And that's why you don't want to be like already 7 sessions ahead, and then all of a sudden you have to do a quiz that you don't remember anymore. So follow it's already fast enough. So everything, most of these links are not available yet, again, because I don't want you to watch material yet that is too far ahead, but these links will all gradually become available. Okay, so I think I went through everything. Let me quickly see that I forgot to say something. I don't think so. I feel like it was something I needed to say. We did the lectures, we talked about homework, we talked about quizzes. Okay, if there's anything missing, please read the document, everything is there. And then, again, you can always ask me questions through email. So, when this is now set up, I hope we are ready now to for our course. And as I said, we won't see each other, and you won't see me either anymore, but you'll hear me. So get used to my voice. I apologize for my accent. All right? Bye.